Hello everyone, Pallytum here. Welcome back to Diablo 4. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the build I leveled with for my Necromancer. It focuses on death and decay and just spreading rot across the entire screen. Most of the way we're doing that is with corpse explosion for the first, I would say, 15 levels of this game. In the beta, I was playing in a party, and let me tell you, this was a perfect accompaniment to that party. As they got a single kill in a room, I would just continue, oh, this is a perfect example, to explode corpses and send them further into the room full of enemies that we were fighting. All it took was one enemy dying for me to take complete control of a situation. My generator, my essence generator, actually allows me to create additional bodies on the ground as well. Our little skeleton friends that we have with us are creating additional bodies for me. So when I said enemies have to die to start the chain reaction, I guess that was a bit of a stretch. That's not actually required. My essence spender sends a scythe forward that cleaves down enemies, and let me remind you that corpse explosion is a free ability. It just requires a corpse. It doesn't take any of my essence. And actually with our setup, we're fueling our essence every time we explode a corpse. It is a super fun playstyle. I'm going to walk you through the talents in just a moment. I think Necromancer was by far my fastest level. Well, maybe not by far. Sorcerer, I think that's actually probably pretty close. But it was just so smooth from start to finish. With Druid, I was messing around with my talents and constantly trying to find things that worked for me. With Necromancer, I fell into this build right away and literally just cruised through the early game. Going through my talents from top to bottom, we start with our generator, Decompose. We channel a beam onto an enemy. It just locks on. We don't even have to do anything special for it. Every 2.5 seconds, it's going to generate a corpse on the ground that we can use. If enemies die while being decomposed, we're going to gain even more essence. And as we're channeling Decomposed, our minions are going to deal 10% more damage to any target we are channeling on. I do have this weapon that makes it so Decompose can chain up to 2 additional targets with a 96% chance that it's also going to continue to spawn corpses on the 2 additional targets as well, meaning we're generating even more corpses on the floor that we can then explode. Our main spender is called Sever. We send a scythe out. It does very high initial damage, then it returns to us and cleaves again. We have the upgrade that's going to allow it to deal damage to enemies in between the destination and myself as it travels forward. And it does 2% increased damage for each minion you have. As you can see, we have a lot of minions. More on how to manage this in just a moment. It's actually a very cool system. Next, in the corpse tree, we have 5 points in corpse explosion, an upgrade that increases its radius by 15%, and then we change its damage to be darkness, and that's what's kind of spreading that miasma across the floor. It deals a lot of damage over 6 seconds. I also have Grim Harvest, which is going to allow me to generate more essence after we consume a corpse. And because we're doing this all the time, I might as well get a 12% damage increase. I completely skipped spending any points in the next area and almost completely skipped the one after that, just grabbing 3 points in the Necrotic Embrace. When a corpse is formed from your skills or your minions, fortify for 6% of your base life. We are forming corpses all of the time. We are able to max out Fortify and keep it rolling. It's a big survivability increase. Then in our ultimate skills, I did decide to actually go for one. I have not done that on most other characters. The problem with these is the cooldown is just so long. But 60-second cooldown Bone Storm is basically going to cause me and my pet to do a crazy amount of damage around us, specifically our golem. You can see if I press this, I radiate damage, he's radiating damage as well. I don't really feel like I need this very often. I believe it is reducing our damage taken while it's up. I mostly just picked it because I wanted to have an ultimate skill. I was ready. It was time. I think those points could have easily been spent in decompose and sever, and I would have had a perfectly fine time as well. The pet management is actually very, very cool and not something I expected. You press Shift and C, you'll gain access to the Book of the Dead. For anyone playing through the beta, your class quest is unlocked at level 25. That's actually what allows you to get the golem, but this quest comes from your Book of the Dead. They might make that easier to spot on retail, so you might just get a prompt for it in the future. Just keep that in mind. If we click on either of these, we can actually customize what we are summoning. For instance, I have Reapers for my Skeletal Warriors because Reapers have a 15% chance to spawn additional corpses. Again, as we know, the more corpses there are, the more fun we have. My pets are taking a lot of damage here, and it's very easy to manage that as well. I'll show you in just a moment. For my skeletal mages, I have increased, they do a 6th attack with their volley. I did think about taking bones because it would allow my mages to leave behind a corpse when they die. However, you have to resummon them constantly because they're throwing their own bones at the enemy. For my golem, I have each time your bone golem takes up to 20% of its maximum life and damage, it sheds a corpse. Here are the other options for this tier as well. I'm a big fan. You can also opt to not have any pets. I believe each of these has a sacrifice where you can just get a bonus to your character if you wanted to give up these guys. However, the pets are so good at just absorbing cannon fodder. It's like if someone is shooting a skill at you, odds are it's never even going to make it onto your side of the screen because you have this shield of bones protecting you everywhere that you go. Like I said, the summoning is very easy. It's all done by raised skeleton. Your mages and skeletal warriors are all bound to the same key, and you just need corpses to bring them back. If you are at your maximum, by the way, you can tell by looking to the right of your essence, we are at our maximum right now. So if I were to summon again, it would actually just give my pets a buff for a duration. So you should be really trying to keep this active all the time, but I don't do that. I just corpse explode. So ideally, we want to be fighting as many enemies as humanly possible. So let me try to get a decent group over here. Here's our basic rotation. We right-click to spend our essence. This also just creates corpses on the ground. We then start exploding these corpses to refill our essence as well as kill off everything else on the screen. If anyone left is still alive, we just start right-clicking on them to spend our essence and blow up even more corpses to refill our essence back to where it was. You do generate essence and corpses by channeling our left click. However, under the right circumstances, which are not too hard to find yourself in, you don't really even need to. You're going to be generating enough of the stuff that you need with just the corpse explosion. There are events where you need to like survive, like generally public events where you need to survive in an area and enemies keep spawning in these same spots and pushing towards you. You can spawn camp all of the enemies with corpse explosion. And then as they form, they immediately die, and then you just explode their corpse to continue holding down an area with corpse explosion. There is also a legendary that would allow me to use this invulnerability thing. It's like a blood pool that I turn myself into. If we were using that with the appropriate legendary, we could actually explode these corpses without even pressing the button, just by going immune to damage and walking over them. I wish I had that. Oh, it would be so good. Oh my God, consuming a corpse increases the damage of your next core skill by 9%. I could imprint that, probably not on a weapon, and that would complement our setup so incredibly well. Let's see if I can do that, actually. So we just go to this guy. We tell him we want to take this and turn it into an aspect. Then let's see what it can be applied to. Gloves would work. Amulet would give it 50% increased power. We'll go with gloves. That's fine. Perfect. Now, what are core skills? You can tell pretty easily by looking at the category for your abilities in your talent tree. These are basic skills. These are core skills. So now when I explode a corpse, my next right click is going to deal more damage. And here we go. How is our bossing? Well, against this guy, it actually could be pretty difficult. So I am going to make sure that I'm channeling just to get some extra corpses out there. This guy is capable of dealing quite a lot of AoE damage with that poison, and he will be killing off a lot of my pets here pretty soon. I'm going to start a Bone Storm and just move in with some scythes, use most of these corpses for resummoning my pets, and then start exploding the others. Then we just spam out right clicks whenever we have essence to do so. As you can see, this boss is not attacking me at all, and I really do think that's where a lot of the strength of Necromancer lies. Because of that interaction that you just saw, boss mechanics don't even matter to you in a lot of cases. Yes, I did have to reform my army, but they just had cemented aggro there. We have fought this guy on stream so many times, and he is lethal. If you stand in that poison at all, your health gets melted to half in no time flat. His melee swipes cleave like huge arcs in front of him. They're so crazy difficult to dodge, and it just does not matter on Necromancer. If you guys enjoyed today's video, if you like our setup, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. I am going to try to get a few more videos done before the servers shut down in 3 hours and 17 minutes.